Locked and loaded to the sound of the Irish underground. Phever. Turn up the bass. Welcome to Funked Up.
Dean Sherry.
Yes, I have a very, very special show today. The story that's never been told. Live in studio with me in a couple of minutes, Mr. Billy Murray, Mr. Derek Murray, and the lovely Tara Murray. The story behind ABBEY Discs is coming up in a couple of minutes. I'm going to kick off with this tune, which was the first record I bought from ABBEY Discs. I went into the mall and I asked Derek, who I didn't know at the time, what is that song that goes, ooh, 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 and he just laughed at me. And I went over then to Billy. He said, go over and Billy, he might know what it is. And Billy laughed at me. This is Voodoo Ray. I am Dean Sherry. You're locked and loaded. This is Phever, and we're doing the ABBEY Discs Story. Okay, as I said, we have a very special show today, and over the next at least an hour, we're going to be chatting to the people behind the story of Irish dance music, which centred around buying records, and that's how the whole scene started. I was a collector, and most DJs I know were collectors and still are. Before the days of downloads, before the days of digital sharing, you had to go and buy vinyl, and ABBEY Discs was the forefront, and set up a lot of people, myself included. So I'm going to read out a little tribute written by Mr. Jason D, a DJ a lot of people will know, and a guy who worked with Billy and Derek and Tara. And he wrote a very touching piece that I've a couple of excerpts to read out about. When they closed in 2008, he wrote these words. Actually, these words are from Billy, Derek and Tara and the team. It is with sad regret that ABBEY Disc Record Store will be closing its doors on the 29th of November for the last time after 25 years in the music business. From the early days in the Abbey Mall, if you're old enough, you'll remember it well, to the last years in the Abbey Street, all the staff of Abbey really want to, sorry, I can't read it, and especially Billy would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for their support. That came from Billy, Derek, Tara, Anthony, Tracy, Elaine and Niamh. And I'm going to read out a little excerpt now from Jason D. This is the tune that Billy has nominated as the track that started it all, the first and the biggest selling 12-inch of all time, and how fitting for the day that's in it. Hacienda is in town, Mr. Graham Park and Peter Hook from New Order, and this is Blue Monday. Okay, I'm going to read out this little piece, as I said, written by Jason D, and all credit to the man. He's going back in time, and in 1984, Billy had decided to leave a shop called Discit, and it was a year later, in the Abbey Mall was set up ABBEY Discs. And the first thing, in his words, that struck him was the Abbey Mall was the atmosphere. The place was absolutely buzzing. He went into Billy's shop and just stood there, took it all in. All those records, and all of them very DJ friendly. And this was never seen before in any other shops. The competition out there was the likes of Dolphin Discs. After going in to look around the old gold collection, I soon discovered Derek. And was sold to all the big songs, waiting for it to come back in. It's not in, it'll be in for you on Tuesday. First time he heard that phrase from him, and certainly not the last. He decided to spend a £5 on a 12-inch and treat himself. To put it into perspective, I was getting 10-15 quid for doing a local disco back then, so it was a huge part of my budget. It was Mega Bass, Time to Make the Floor Burn, a mega mix that's still close to the hearts of many DJs today, and that's a rare thing. The Mall wasn't just about Abbey in those years, it was literally heaven on earth for DJs back then, and at one stage there was up to 4 different dance shops all competing against each other: Abbey, Outlaw, U Scully's, Mixtape Shop and Beat Records. We can have a thread about Abbey without mentioning Beat and the two Mad Tonys. I remember going into Beat as a teenager, looking through the racks for about an hour, and even though I couldn't afford a single tune in the shop, I listened to a few of the imports because I heard them back. The reason Abbey Discs lasted 25 years when every other independent record shop we can think of has long gone is simply down to one person, Billy Murray. The catalyst for all the best DJ sets in this country for the last 25 years is Billy Murray. And the reason why we had the groundbreaking radio shows and groundbreaking stations like Fever today is down to Billy Murray and down to Abbey Discs. DJs and the Irish dance scene would have never happened, at least in the same way that it has evolved, without Billy and without Abbey Discs. So it is my pleasure. As soon as this song is over, I'm going to invite Billy, Tara and Derek to come up and tell their story. And you're more than welcome to join us online via phever.ie and send us in some excerpts, which I will be talking about. We're going to talk for a couple of minutes, we're going to play a couple of tunes and talk for some more. So you're very, very welcome. This is Abbey Discs, the untold story.
But if it wasn't for your misfortune, I'd be a heavenly person today. And I thought I was mistaken, and I thought I heard you speak. Tell me, how do I feel? Tell me now, how should I feel? Now I stand here waiting.
Okay, it is a very, very pleasure to invite Billy, Derek and Tara in to say hello. And Billy has well prepared for this one, because I've annoyed him over the last couple of weeks, and I couldn't have picked a busier Saturday before Christmas, but there's no better time than today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Abbey Discs story told by the people behind Abbey Discs. Okay, I'm going to ask Billy basically, how did it start? What was going on before Abbey Discs? What were you up to? Were you a collector yourself? How did you get into buying rare records and sourcing from distributors?
I was managing record shops back in the day, back in the 70s. Late 70s, I hooked up for a guy that was in the rag trade, and he suggested I should go out on my own. A guy called Bill, a good friend of mine, and the Abbey Mall was only down the road in Abbey Street, and I rambled in one day and I seen this unit, and it was probably in my budget at the time because I had a lot of other things going on, being married and children and all that. So that's when the Abbey Mall started.
What kind of business were you in at the time? You
Well,
were in the music game.
Yeah, I was in the
you
music
were?
game. Yeah, I've been in the music game since 1964.
Well,
Yeah, wow. But, yeah.
can I hear you?
So the Abbey Mall really appealed to me. It was in the heart of Dublin. The budget was fantastic. There was another Mary Street Mall was open at the time, so I said it's closer to like Temple Bar, and Temple Bar was Temple Bar the way it is today. So I went in and I acquired a unit, and I approached my brother Derek to manage the shop for me, of which
You asked me I was working for Warner Brothers Records in the stores, and I knew where everything was, and that I was the main manager, and Putsy was the floor manager, and Billy was collecting orders. He was for the shop, and he says, "I'd like to open up a shop in the Abbey Mall. Would you come and take over for me?" And I says, "Yeah, no problem." So,
And this was in the 80s?
yeah, this was 81.
So back then we're talking like the big, obviously, 80s track. So your competition at the time would have been the likes of Dolphin Discs. And
No, Golden Discs.
Golden Discs.
Golden Discs were the big
yeah,
ones
but
at the
they
time.
were probably the only ones, really.
Yeah, they'd be the only ones, and then Virgin come in, and then HMV.
I remember that was later in the
Yeah,
80s.
yeah.
What was the angle that you kind of saw? Okay, there's an opportunity here. So what was different about what you were going to do?
Well, basically, it was Derek suggested to me, we opened a small unit, 140 square feet, as Derek said, full of unbelievable, the best probably shop, that I did have. And Derek said, why not concentrate on DJs? To supply DJs only.
And this was in the 80s. You were actually thinking along those lines.
Yeah, well,
of being a DJ specialist store.
Yeah, well, that was say 80. The store did open in 82. By 83, as I said, we were selling up to 50 to 100 copies of New Order Blue Monday. So we said, why not capitalise on that? So then I hooked up with people in the UK, and I started importing 12 inches from everywhere you can go. Spain,
Yeah.
Germany, Holland, America for hip hop. We had a massive hip hop DJs coming in at the time as well. So that's where the 12-inch scene then just blossomed, and that's where it spread on to going from there then on to labels. And
Yeah. I do have a list of some of the labels that as far as I'm concerned, you broke them in this country. And, the dance scene that we know today is based around a lot of those labels that set it up, and you were the go-to spot. And when I posted this event, the interest in this event has been massive, and people from all over the country would just got on to me saying it's a brilliant thing to do. They used to travel up from all ends of the country because you were the only place that you could go and get these things. There was no such thing as mail order, no such thing as downloads back then. And you know what I mean? I know that's probably a sore point eventually.
Oh yeah, it is. But it did,
That is the sore point.
it did put a nail in the coffin, but back in the time we would have had a system that every DJ wasn't only a DJ. Most 90% of them became friends to us.
Yeah.
And wherever the case may be, but it would have been a nod given out. Oh, you went over to Beat Records and we had this in stock. We're £3 cheaper. You know that, don't you?
So let's go back to the early Mal days, and obviously you were trying to establish yourself as a business. How did you let people know, or how did you get word out to the DJs?
The thing was then, when I was in the record factory, Warner Brothers, there was these.
That was Finglas, was it?
It was only 7. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Glass
remember,
11, Glass 11. The petrol station is there.
And they had a
now.
vinyl pressing
Yeah.
plant there.
Yeah, the last
Yeah,
one in
yeah,
Ireland.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 12-inch singles were coming into the country.
Yeah.
And they were only coming into Ireland at the time, and that's when Billy asked me to open up Abbey Discs. So he said,
Yeah.
and we said we specialised in 12-inch singles.
Yeah, because you obviously saw what was going on.
Yeah, and two DJs come into me, Eugene and another fella, I can't think of his name. And that's how we got all the DJs.
Yeah.
DJs.
And what sort of
on
DJs
the
at the time were you dealing with? Like, obviously, who would have been...
Just fellas like
Even
ordinary
before
Joe
my
Soaps.
day, though, yeah.
Just Joe Soaps and that.
Well,
Like,
the main DJs that we started off with in the Abbey Mall was people sourcing out singles, people looking for old gold stuff, which
Yeah.
Derek, he managed that section of the shop, old gold, anything that a DJ could play out on a parties, the 60s, 70s night, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Then we were supplying the likes of radio stations, the likes of DJs coming in doing American stuff. We were getting import singles from the States, 70 singles of rock bands that you couldn't get or couldn't source. And the main thing we had going in Abbey Discs at the time was the UK didn't have they weren't in a thing called Benelux. We were part of Benelux because of the European system we were in, and I could import
as a territory, a distribution territory.
I could import vinyl from anywhere, and I found that DJs from the north, that's kind of base of English to some people, were coming down and buying singles off us, which you couldn't get in the UK. You know, there was no one supplying. We were the main supplier. We also had a small wholesaling that we would be selling shops around the country that start up. We would be selling them. They'd come up on a day. Friends of Derek, Paddy and Rod, the guys down the country, would be coming up. They'd spend X amount of money buying vinyl, going back home, supplying the DJs. So we kind of had a lot of things going. That's where the label kicked in, and
I'm going to get to the label in a few minutes. We're going to play a track, and I picked out a couple of tracks that remind me of the Mall and certain moments in time. This was a track that you guys had on the wall up for offers, and he wouldn't sell it to anybody. And I used to annoy him, could I stroke, and he wouldn't let me. This is Apollonia. Okay, we're back here telling the Abbey Discs story. I'm going to bring Tara Murray in, and we're going to talk about a moment in time that every DJ will remember. There was always little bags made up every week, and the deliveries used to come in on a Tuesday and a Thursday, if I'm right, yeah? So the clever ones like me used to come in after work on a Thursday and spend your money, and you get first access, but there was always little bags already made up, and I want to talk about that story. Tara, tell us the logic, and who got preferential treatment, and who got the bags?
Who got preferential treatment? Okay, so the bags, we'd get the orders in, and then we'd make up the bags of maybe 10 or 15 people, and then we'd go through, say, the white labels or the promos we'd have that week, and then me and Billy would be discussing, well, he gets that one and he gets that one, you know.
There was a debate?
It was.
There was a debate.
It wasn't a debate, because you tried to share it out, you know.
On time, he doesn't.
I remember going into Derek, and Derek it let me play a few tunes behind the counter, and I'd be having a little sly look through the bags. There's Paddy Sheridan's bag, and there's Billy's.
We kind of cottoned onto that, and that's when we used to hide them out the back. But it was, we tried to use it on, we tried to be fair with everyone. Someone might got the best track one week, but the next week will go to the next person. You know, you might have
obviously it was a case of supply and demand. You wouldn't have had enough copies for everybody, obviously.
Sometimes you'd only get one. The odd time you might get a couple.
You were creating demand too.
Yeah.
You know, so there was cleverness.
Yeah,
there was a bit of thought there.
It meant that even with white label, I was offered €75 for a white label played in the shop, but I knew there was a person coming in that was going to play it. The bigger DJ back in the day, right? So I said, by the time he plays it, that 75 would mean nothing, because I'm going to sell about 500 copies. So that's the way we worked it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's a very clever, thought process. And a lot of people wouldn't. Obviously, me at the time, I was just hungry for tunes, like every other DJ.
Yeah.
But tell us some of the funny stories that used to go on, because I know you were clued into that.
Okay. Funny stories. Let me see. I think me and Derek were in the shop one day. I think Billy was away or something, and next of all I turned around, there was a guy asleep on the decks, his head straight out, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, Derek, quick, get him out of the shop.
Can you say who he is?
No. It's not even that. You think about it, I was the only girl working in a male dominated job, and 90% of the customers were coming in were male. Do you know what I mean? So you'd have fun times, as Ronan used to say to me, he goes, I stand at the end of the shop and go, is she in good form or is she in bad form?
Because I actually, sorry, Ronan, when I was researching this, I was talking to a few DJs, and most of the times it was all positive stories, and then there was a few guys saying, listen, don't mention my name. I won't say who they are.
I mean, even to say how
they obviously always a few quid.
Yeah, they probably, even to think how big Abbey Discs is. I was in Australia in a nightclub in the middle, about 10 years ago, and this Australian guy came over, says, that girl that works in the record shop.
No way.
I swear to God, in Sydney Harbour, and he was Australian, he wasn't Irish. I was like, oh, here, get me out here. I can't hide anywhere these days. There was loads of funny stories. People come in, we had a bit of crack, we were busy, it was great when it was busy, there was a good atmosphere. I said it was a family kind of,
Well, this is an important point, and it's something that's lost nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
The whole record buying culture, and especially what you guys created in the Mall and on Liffey Street, was a social aspect.
Yeah.
DJs went there to see other DJs and yap about music and talk about where you're playing, and there was a whole social scene built up around it. I wouldn't... I met the likes of Billy Scurry and heroes of mine and Liam Dollar, people that helped me in my career through the Mall. You know what I mean? And I put it up very highly in the evolution of how the whole career was forged.
Yeah.
Yous actually made it as well.
It was the social part around it. And the friendships like yourself and you built up.
It was hard work as well, It was hard work.
Listen to them, I know. You didn't give me a record now. I thought you were going to talk to you.
There were so many of you just coming in this time, you know what I mean?
It was trying to keep everyone happy, and then sometimes,
Billy's famous phrase, I'll have a few Tuesday, mate.
I think, I don't know, I probably can't even remember. I'm sure I've had a couple of arguments with people that come in the shop.
By far, you were the fieriest one out of the three.
I was the quiet one.
You were the quiet one.
I think Jason T hit the head. The guy would come in and he'd be... At the time, you had a Satonic decks.
Yeah.
I put you under me wing. I took you under me wing.
I was under that wing for a while.
And I turned him around and made a comment.
When I fit under the wing anymore. Okay, I want to go back to the whole labels thing. I mean, obviously, what happened then in the late 80s with the explosion of dance music, obviously you were tapped into that straight away. And was there like obviously you were getting sent stuff from distributors. What was the first tune that arrived in and you went, wow, this is different? Or was there a tune, or was there obviously you mentioned Blue Monday, but that was earlier in the 80s. Was there a dance tune or something that changed in around the mid to late 80s? Was there a standout tune or something like that?
Oh, there was a load of them. There was a load.
I think when samples start coming into records, right, and then when they start
likes to pump up the volume and all that.
Chicane, Saltwater.
Yeah.
That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
That was 90s. Yeah. I'm just wondering, was there an earlier one?
Yeah, there was loads.
See, I think when they started using little samples, and then because we're getting a reaction to that, artists were actually using it more and more. The likes of, like, I know that Hard House is very big in the shop. The Tidy Tracks used all Jack Nicholson, used to all use all the voiceovers, and you could see it going smaller, and then eventually look what it is today. They're just you know, getting a new track and reverse, or like
my thinking on it though, I'd imagine you get a lot of different styles. Like there's obviously new movements in music every couple of years. You probably got a lot of stuff in that was crap as well. Like how do you kind of say this is going to work or this is not going to work? What was, or did you just take a punt on certain things?
No, just you'd know by your ear. You'd know by your ear.
Yeah.
You'd know a song is supposed to make you feel good.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you listen to a song, you're like, no, that's shit. Get in the bin. And if you hear a song, you're like, yeah, just.
Well, you can make mistakes because I used to.
Yeah, Tony DeBart, the real thing.
Oh no, tell us the story behind Tony DeBart.
Right,
Tony DeBart, right? I used to back in the day.
Now tell them the story. What happened in Abbey Discs? What we done with that?
No,
we kill ourselves over this.
What happened with Tony DeBart was. We were tapped into a.
That was on Cleveland City.
No, it was on Cleveland. We were tapped into the record company in the UK that used to flood the North with vinyl.
Yeah.
For the chart's sake, not because the North was the feedback into the UK,
Virgin
right?
And all that was big.
And I used to go up to with a friend of mine every Thursday. I used to travel up and get all the vinyl, and I was handed a bundle of Tony DeBart.
Yeah, but 25 copies, 12 inches.
Right, and we put it on, it was sitting on the shelf, and there was
Nobody would buy it.
Nobody would buy it.
Nobody liked it.
And we played, we thought it was fairly decent. It was kind of like crossover pop to kind of dance at the time.
That was a label you championed.
Yeah, we did, director and all that.
But what happened then was, it actually went into the British charts.
So we sold it for $1.99.
$1.99.
So it didn't, it wasn't.
We sold it.
It wasn't a game changer as such
so
at the time.
we're looking to make a few bob. So we sell it for $1.99. Next while I said, I've seen about 300 copies of that in Virgin up in Belfast. I wonder have they any left.
Yeah.
But when I went back up, there was none left.
So they had sold.
So we had to buy it directly from the UK for about £4 a pop.
Oh Jesus!
To sell it for £8.
Yeah.
He was like, you should have just put that in a box or something. Everyone's going to like.
But I guess there's going to be moments like that over time where there's tracks that you say this might work or won't work, and you have to you have to buy the stock, you have to pay up front for that stock, and then hopefully you resell it. You know, for whatever markup you can get. And this is something you mentioned to me on the phone. The markup wasn't great.
Yeah, well, we were working on about 15%, and no matter what the turnover did, it did get fairly high now, to be honest.
In volume.
In volume, it was we were making some money because we were trading in the Abbey Mall. If we were on a Main Street shop, then things change. And when you go on Main Street, you have to go mainstream.
Yeah,
as well,
exactly. Yeah, which is what the Liffey Street.
The Liffey Street. The mall was closing.
Yeah.
So we were caught up between the mall closing and bringing our business out onto the street. And going onto the street, we wouldn't. I found that we weren't making money on the street.
You didn't have the edge that you had in the mall, I guess.
It wasn't the L, it was the overheads. I mean, if you're trading on a main street, you've got like
rates
and overhead. Everything is quadruple what you're paying already. If you're now 140 square feet and you're doing the turnover we were doing, everything's fine. But when you go over onto the main street, things do change.
Your costs increase crazily.
Yeah, but you have more staff as well. You have a bigger unit. You have more staff. Yeah.
Tell us about some of the people that work there. Like I was talking to obviously Jason, I was talking to Jamie. You had a few characters in there over the time as well.
Graham worked there.
Graham was there. Graham was hoping to get here today, but he's only after having a new baby. But he wrote another one, I think. But he wrote a couple of words that I'll read out in a few minutes. But tell us who else was working there over the years.
Mick worked there.
Yeah, Mixcloud.
Saoirse Ryan, she's doing very well now.
Yeah, Saoirse worked there. That's right.
She's doing very well now. Yeah. Have you following her on Facebook?
There was Danielle. There was Danielle McGawley.
Yeah, that's right.
Heidi.
Yeah.
Oh, there was. Oh God.
Who was there?
What was the guy with the glasses?
Jamie.
Sorry. Yeah.
He looked after hip hop.
Yeah.
That was his
But you had a couple of musos in there, you know. That was an interesting thing. You could actually go in and the guys could actually lecture you about check this, and you know, it was all about upsell, obviously.
Yeah.
But you know, these guys were knowledgeable and they knew their genres very, very well.
Yeah.
And you obviously had to spread yourself across all them to have a little bit of knowledge on all of them.
Yeah.
And you know, it was very character driven with yourself and with the three is really, you know what I mean. But I mean, anyone that speaks about Abbey will speak very highly. So it's a tribute to you guys. Tell us about. You know, there were obviously a lot of big DJs that came in. Was there anyone like on an international level that used to float in? Did you have any superstars floating in and out? Or?
Oh yeah, we had the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I think Garth Brooks came in there one day, didn't he?
We had the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I think my dad.
Anthony's his name.
Billy was serving somebody.
Yeah, what about when we served Sandra Bullock?
Sandra Bullock, that was you,
Yeah. And she was up for a copy of the Maniac.
No,
She was not.
Because she
was with the woman, the Chinese one. She was in the.
Matthew McConaughey was filming.
Not
She was with him
Club
at the time, and
Yeah.
she was filming in Dublin. That's
She was
why
in one of
She's looking
the.
for the Maniac. Guys, we're going to take another tune break while we're having a laugh at this one. This is another one that Billy picked out. This is Bedrock. Okay, this is a very special Fever special. We've got the ABBEY Discs Untold story being told by the people behind ABBEY Discs. There's a lot of people online, there's a lot of people on Facebook, a lot of people on social media coming in with comments. I'm not going to be able to read all of them, but I am going to read some of them. Hugo McCann has just joined us in the studio. And he's fully clothed today. I've got a lovely tribute from Mr. Graham Michael Keeley, who worked in the shop, and he's one of our own. He plays a couple of sets here with us fairly regular on Fever. And in Graham's own words, he started working in the Abbey Mall on Saturdays in 1993 and the odd weekday during the school holidays. It was his job in the mall to mix the records that the DJs wanted to hear. So mixing between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It was the longest sets he ever played, with Derek tossing his hair randomly. At least that's all you were doing. Yeah. He said during Christmas he'd love to drive over to Billy in his car. He'd no licence. He had to drive over to Billy, and he'd no licence to drive the car, delivering parcels of records for country lads, by Fast Track. Every person in Dublin who wanted to be or knew a DJ hung out in the Abbey Mall. Saturdays rocked. Everyone popped in to see what they could find, and they used to know that they could pick out the music. Billy lent me his car on many occasions to do a gig, and he met so many people through his time working at ABBEY Discs. It's a memory he holds very dearly. Lifelong friends that he still has to this day. Billy was and still is a complete gentleman, and he's very grateful for the chance and for the cheeky Cabra boy that he was given years ago. So that's a tribute from Graham, which is a nice message. Derek and is going to mention, we were talking about some of the DJs that came into you over the years. Obviously probably every DJ came into you over the years, but there's some big names obviously, and some of them who aren't with us anymore. So I just want you guys to talk about that.
Yeah, Tony Dixon was a great friend, and Martin King. Yeah, Martin King now it was Tony Dixon's best friend.
Dead and alive.
Yeah.
Okay. We'd also like to remember Mark Phelan, Ger Bourne, Mick Morrison. There are a host of other people that we just can't put name to at the moment, but respect to all the people that are not here with us today that did shop on ABBEY Discs.
That's a lovely tribute, guys, and you know what I mean. I'm just one person saying thank you to you guys. We're not finished yet, though. I want to kind of touch on, highlights and labels that you guys broke, and I have a list here, if I can find it, of some of the labels. And when I read out this list, if I can find it, some of the labels that basically you guys broke and were the first people to have these labels, and without these kind of labels the dance music scene across the world wouldn't exist. We're talking about Gorilla, Stress, XL, Deconstruction, Double F Double R, Huge Tunes, Strictly Rhythm, Limbo, Junior Boyzone, Logic, Platypus, Positiva, Suburban Bass, ZYX, Cleveland City, Red Records, and of course ABBEY Discs Records. These are seminal labels that have a moment in time, and some of them are still going to this day. You guys basically started it. Tell us some of the stories, some of the DJs. It used to be Great Crack, me, you, and the Mal. Yeah. Some of the lads that came in, just about, it was as I mentioned already. It was a social scene. People came in to play the tunes and to sell the tunes. Tell us some of your memories, Derek.
And that's what the shop was all about. The DJs made the shop and that, I was the only one serving behind the counter and that. But Billy
DJ Pepper, yeah.
Billy was the main organiser. He was the one that did all the get all the labels in, all the things in, and asked me what track and this track and that track. And we used to go together, and that's how we got all the tracks in and supplied.
Tell us the lads, what prompted you to start ABBEY, the label itself? Obviously you were in the right position to do it.
The label itself came out of DJs coming into the shop wanting to release their own records, or vinyl at the time, or CD, whatever the case may be. And Robbie Mateer, who was a regular DJ at the time, playing the Asylum, probably the number one DJ in that period, he went out to Tim Hannigan, Mr. Spring, and he made a track called Pride, of which is the Abbey Dance.
That was your debut single, wasn't it?
That's the debut single, and it's still fetching big money on vinyl. It's a really rare track, but that track was the springboard for Abbey to go forward and release 13 releases, where there was only 12 released. We catalogued the Maniac
Yeah.
Abbey 13 because it's lucky for some, and
It was
I'm a
for
lucky
you.
guy. No, a lucky little guy.
Well, we're definitely not going to play the Maniac, but it, it has to be mentioned. It's the biggest selling Irish dance music. Well, I use that term loosely, but it is the biggest selling Irish dance music track of all time.
Yeah, but
and it's down to Abbey Discs.
Yeah, but it's not only the biggest Irish dance record. It would be the biggest selling single in Ireland in the decade. There was a single of supposed to be sold more than the Maniac, but it fell through. It is the biggest of the 80s, of the 90s going into 2000. It was the biggest selling single.
Yeah.
Can you do the rap?
Well, I can do that. You want?
Listen, Mercury, it's actually the family anthem in the Murray household. So
Every Christmas it gets pulled
no,
out.
it's
She
even
was
got,
a pretty lady.
we even have my nephew now. Billy.
Oggy.
Brilliant.
My nephew comes in and goes, Billy Maniac, and that's, you have to play it repetitively over and over and over again.
And not Billy, you are the maniac. You what?
But I think even at that time, not even for the song, like even for the shop, the buzz that was on, because obviously Billy would get the CDs made and they go down to record services, and whoever was told to go down and put the sleeves into the CD, it was like torture.
Because
this,
it's a J card into the case.
Yeah, this warehouse card.
Yeah.
Because the warehouse would be freezing, and you'd be standing down there, and then obviously like every Friday you'd get the sales on. I remember Billy going, I have to order another 20,000 of that single, and this went on week after week. But it was just, it was a good buzz in the shop at the time.
Yeah.
I think my nephew was born, and that was 2000. April 2000, because he's born April 14, 2000. That's the only time I remember, the only day, because he was born. But even as you're saying, with the lads coming into the shop, you'd always have. I got on great with some people. I had arguments with others. Do you know what I mean? I tried to be fair.
You can be scary at times, Karen.
Devil's advocate, yes. Yeah.
Well, it's not that you have to. When you're working in an environment,
It's
that you're the
retail.
only-
It's retail. It's tough. Like you're dealing with every dickhead.
Yeah, and I'm the only
all
female.
men,
Do you know what I mean? So that's why I have a mind of a bloke now. Do you know what I mean? Look what you've done. It's terrible.
You've ruined her.
Yeah, but it would have been like, I enjoyed my time working out this. It was great to see everyone coming in. Everyone has good moments.
You must miss those years, guys, and on the social front, obviously, but on the business front as well. Now, I know the business took a downturn because of the way the music scene shifted.
Yeah.
Now, we've also noticed stuff that, like, vinyl has sold more in this last year. Does that give you hope that? I'm not saying we're going to get an Abbey comeback, but does it give you hope for how it could evolve? Well, or everything goes in circles.
Well, it's not even that. It'd be nice to see people appreciate vinyl again. Because to me, there's nothing like taking a record out of a sleeve, putting it on a deck, and putting a needle.
Guys.
And then just hearing it. Like, that's an art form, right? Yeah. Whether it's something from the 60s, 70s, or 80s, doesn't matter what music it is. Vinyl is vinyl. You can't just put it to one genre. Oh, it's all about dance, so it has to be vinyl. Like, I listen to
have you a nice collection at home of your own?
Well, no.
Did you ever have a Billy bag?
Yeah. Well,
I sold that for a holiday.
No, well, my story in that is back in the day, back in the 70s, I would have had a DJ collection of all 70s singles. I had something like...
you were the disco buddy.
I had about 2,000 70s singles, right? And I done basically just the
Saturday Night Murray,
the 21st, the weddings, or this, that, and unit. That's
did you ever DJ yourself?
That's what I'm saying.
You've done it,
DJ, Done it maybe 10, 15 times. Personal stuff, secular. So, I got a house, saw my vinyl, and that's the end of that story. My regret on that is, in the 2000 singles I had, unknowns to myself, I had promos of every genre. I had Beatles promos, I had this, that, and the other. And I met a good friend of mine, Kevin, that used to come into the shop, and he keeps on saying to me, Billy says, I have my pension fund at home. I have Paul McCartney promos, Ringo Starr promos, John Lennon promos. Fuck you, Kevin.
On that note, a question came in there. Where did the name come from? I'm guessing because you set up in the mall, but was Abbey Discs... I know you had an outlet in Northside. Was it Abbey Discs there as well?
No.
So where did the name come from? Was it just the location?
Well, basically, when you're a businessman like myself, you're saying, where's Mungo Disc? Where's Bongo Disc? Where's Abbey Disc? It's in fucking Abbey Street, isn't it?
We've a lot of people tuned online. Mr. Pat Carey says Pepper's a dodgy bootlegger. Charlie Moran says it's great to see you guys. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of good wishes. I don't want to go on too long. We've about 10 minutes to go. We're going to play one more tune and then we're going to do another couple of minutes just to let you guys finish your story. Is that okay? Yes. This is from the ABBEY Discs label by a good friend of mine. This is DJ Chaos, and it's the 1997 remix of BPM.
BPM.
Guys, if you could only hear what's going on off microphone. Okay, we've about 6 minutes to go before I have to let these people go back to their normal lives and stop interfering with all these memories. But it's such good fun. I'm going to hand you over to Derek, Billy and Tara just to to finish this off in 5 minutes, whatever you guys want to say. I'm going to let you take the mic. Come on over here, Billy. And we won't talk about what we've just been talking about.
Well, hello to everybody that knows me. I'd like to thank you all for being a great part of my life, which I dearly miss, sorely miss, but it was brilliant. I've great memories, great times, made loads of money. And I have a DJ book here, and there'll be the sheriff around somewhere. You live in Skerries, yeah? About 5 o'clock. Either the vinyl or the $2,000 you owe me. I have nothing else to say.
Anything for you?
I'd like to thank all the DJs that come into me and made my life great. Made my job easier, believe it or not. No, it was great. The atmosphere in the shop. It's easy to know it because they were all great, normal people, you know. Like, we kicked off each other, we bounced off each other, you know.
We got drunk together.
And we got drunk together and we socialised together and we did everything together.
Yeah, there was a life outside of the shop as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there was, big time, you know.
I wasn't part of it. I only went there Sunday night.
I'll put you over to Tara now. Thank you very much.
Tara, from you.
Oh, the last words, is it, from Tara? The only female, literally, in ABBEY Discs.
Last words for the loudest.
The loudest and proudest. Well, I think it's very special that I was part of this ABBEY Discs crew, you know, even...
You were born into this.
Born into it, yeah. Sometimes it was a hindrance for years because you'd have to hide from the DJs so they wouldn't tell your father that you're out at 15 years of age in an over 18s nightclub. Eventually they worked it out. Don't say anything at all. Or just let her in for free. At least we know where she is.
I never saw you before.
Nobody ever saw me. You know, I had amazing memories. Like, you know, it was a huge part in my life. Unfortunately, like, my life has moved on now. Sometimes I don't really remember how big it was until somebody actually sits and said it to me. Do you remember this? Like, oh yeah, I do. It was amazing. It was an amazing time. You know, I wish I could be still here now, but unfortunately, life does move on. But thank you to everyone. If I was mean to people, I'm sorry. I still do it these days.
Oh,
yeah, I do.
There's a few that you mean to be mean to.
Yeah, well, people have to be taught lessons sometimes, yeah. But listen, it was great and amazing memories, and thank you very much.
This is Derek Pepper again. Listen, I'd like to say hello to Andy Jackson, Noel Clancy, Paddy Sheridan, that did me wedding when I got married. Now, even though I'm divorced now.
Yeah, that was the last
he was the I think that was the last DJ he did. Wedding he did was mine. And all the crew.
Tony Dixon obviously was a good pal of yours.
Tony Dixon was a very good friend of mine as well, you know. Phil Cawley, Ray Darcy, believe it or not, and Martin King.
Buzzkill Darcy.
Yeah, Buzzkill Darcy. And everybody that knows me. Thanks very much. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Billy, Pepper and Tara. The ABBEY Discs Story, this is a one-off, never to be repeated, I hope. But these guys are a part of why you're listening to Fever today. Ladies and gentlemen, ABBEY Discs. I'm going to finish on Tony the Bart. Okay, this is Dean Sherry, a very special edition of Funked Up Radio on Saturday afternoon, live and direct from Dublin City. I am Dean Sherry. You have just heard the ABBEY Discs Story, and for the next hour, because it's Hacienda Day and all the boys are in town, I might have them on the phone just before 6 p.m. But for the next hour, I'm going to play a little tribute of mine to the Hacienda. From me, Dean Sherry, and from the ABBEY Discs crew, thank you so much for listening for the last hour.